once not working within the body, the consciousness is not limited to what it can do, where it can go. Okay, it travels in that same form. It's just spherical in shape. So it applies across the board to forms of consciousness of any kind, whether the kids are trying to get somebody's attention or if somebody in the spirit world is making themselves known. It happens a lot when you go to places that have been used for sacred rituals or ceremonies or whatever. Wherever you go in the world, you'll often get orbs in your pictures because there are a lot of ancestors, a lot of spirit people in these places. It happens everywhere. And people that are alive now on the planet also can project in orb form. It's really fascinating to know that consciousness travels like that, and that it can show up. And it tends to show up more on digital cameras for some reason. I'm not sure why. It probably has to do with how they operate. But it's quite fascinating. They can be any different. They can be any color, and they often will have inside of them geometric forms or patterns that are repeated or always unique to that orb. You almost never see two alike. If you get a picture with more than one orb that's the same, it's rare, and it's generally that the message is so strong, whatever it's about, that more than one person, wherever they are trying to communicate it. And so they're creating the reality of similarity. It's quite fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Another thing that you speak about is angels on Earth.
Mhm. I haven't met many, maybe a dozen. When I wrote the book, I'd only met a few. And what I'm finding is that there are certain people, certain human beings, that have an absolute awareness that they have etheric wings. And I'm not kidding. These people tend to have had a very hard time in life, are hypersensitive to everything, and are very, very sad at the condition of the world. They usually struggle, but when they become empowered, they end up being extremely compassionate and powerful people. I'm still learning about this, truly, Tom, but I'm seeing more and more of it, and it isn't just a particular age group. It happens with adults, kids, and everybody in between. Although I haven't met any elderly people that have owned that one yet. Not to say they're not out there, I just haven't met them. And I know that they're able to use their wings for different reasons. They're really wonderful in healing circumstances, things like that, and also can actually. These people are really good at bringing the truth forward, and I think that has something to do with it as well. But I'm still learning about it. Yeah, it's an odd concept, I know, but it's very real. Another one of those very real things that just doesn't include enough people to write a book about at this point, or I don't have enough information to really do it justice, because I know that there's so much to say if I only knew.
Has your research brought you to maybe some of these souls that are incarnating, like this is their first incarnation here? I mean, of course, you have to entertain the idea of reincarnation, but I've heard it said that some of these kids have never been here before. I mean,
actually, I don't see it that way.
You don't?
No, I see it just the opposite. The children that are coming in now, for the most part, are very old souls. I would say, I would be very willing to state that I have never met a first-time soul. I have met some that haven't been here, haven't incarnated very much, so they don't seem to have the awareness or the ability to grasp, say, esoteric ideals or metaphysical perceptions, that kind of thing. They're very new and things scare them. But none of these kids are first-time souls. And in fact, I don't even know if there's a first-time soul anywhere. Somebody might disagree with me, but I've never met anybody like that. And most of these kids will tell you what they remember about their past lives. When they're little. As they get older, they start to forget. But when they're really small and you get to talk to them, they'll tell you everything. They remember picking their parents out. They can tell you who they were, when, where, everything, all the details of how they died. So I just don't buy that particular perception. But everybody's entitled to it,
So what can we do? How can we help the children of now?
First of all, by recognizing that we are absolutely, that this is happening, that we aren't just having a bunch of kids that nobody knows what to do with. There is a phenomenon that's happening, and we need to be able to be open to the possibilities of not only that it's happening, but what it means to them and to the world. We need to start going about things differently in our world and give these kids what they need. What they need is for us to allow them to be who we are, obviously to give them rules and parameters in which to function in the world, but also to not be afraid of them or their giftedness. When a child walks up and says they're talking to old Uncle Joe and you don't even know who old Uncle Joe is, it can be kind of disconcerting. So it's about staying open to the fact that, maybe our kids are really onto something here and truly to listen to them. Nicholas Tinch, that wrote the foreword to The Children of Now, he did so when he was 9 years old. And one of the things that he said was that the children need most is to be heard. They're not being listened to. We blow them off. We're busy. We're working 1 or 2 jobs, and we don't get to spend much time with our kids anyway. But when we do, we really need to make it quality. We need to hear them and be okay with them and be okay with telling them our truth as well. Because if we don't deal with our own issues as parents and caregivers, all we're doing is propagating dysfunction.
Right.
That's what my new book, Parenting the Children of Now, comes out in October, and that book is all about that. It's all about dealing with our own stuff and then how to work with our kids so that they don't take that with them either. And it's a passion of mine. Adults are so screwed up for a variety of reasons, and well, it's a fact. How many of us think we have to heal ourselves and we keep looking and looking and looking? Well, the truth is we're always perfect. It's just perception. It's perception. So we need to really change how we see the kids. We need to change how we see ourselves.